Namaste, Hare Krishna. Namaste,
Hare
Dr.
Krishna.
Venketaraman.
Namaste.
Today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Dr. Venketaraman. He is a professor at University of Western.
It's Western University of Health Sciences, the College of Osteopathic Medicine of Pacific in Pomona, California.
And how long you been teaching there for?
I've been teaching there for 17 years.
17 years. That's a long time, guys. um, so we're gonna ask him a few questions, and he may ask us some questions also. And let's hear his story because it's very interesting. The field he is working in. Can you tell us what's
Sure.
the area you are working in?
Sure, I'm an educator and a researcher. So when I say educator, I mean I'm a medical educator. I teach the first and second year medical students, like DO students as well as podiatry students, infectious diseases, immunology and microbiology topics in different blocks during the first and second year. So when I don't teach, during my non-teaching time, I do active research. When I say research, I do both preclinical studies and clinical trials, and I do research on tuberculosis, HIV. I study the host immune responses against HIV and tuberculosis infection. So that's pretty much what I do when I don't teach.
So in your research, what's your observation about these diseases?
So my observation was glutathione, an antioxidant, just like vitamin C, right? You have an antioxidant. If you increase the levels of antioxidant within your body, it improves the immune responses against Mycobacterium tuberculosis infection. In other words, TB is caused by a bacteria, a germ called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And we've discovered that if you increase glutathione in your body, your immune system is capable of controlling Mycobacterium tuberculosis infection better. Why is it so important? Because people with HIV infection, people with type 2 diabetes, they have low glutathione levels and they have increased risk for TB. So if you supplement the body with glutathione, like people with type 2 diabetes, people with HIV infection, then the body would be able to fight off TB infection better.
Are there some kinds of foodstuffs that people can include in their diet that could make it happen or no?
Like glutathione is available as a food supplement, right? Many companies sell it. In my observation, if the glutathione is available as liposomal formulation, then that seems to be doing better. In terms of restoring the levels of glutathione and improving the immune responses against TB infection. And it's commercially available. You don't need a prescription. You could buy it from any stores.
What about foods? Is it possible to?
Any cysteine-rich food.
What part do you like about your
Profession?
work?
I like research. I publish a lot of papers. If you go to the PubMed and type my last name or go to the Google, you'll be able to see my research. But what I really enjoy is helping students become doctors. So once they become doctors and they become healers, it is very rewarding experience for me to see them go to their community and cure diseases. Diseases such as cancer, acute diseases like heart attack, infectious diseases, etc. So seeing them grow, become a physician and contribute to the community and worldwide is very fulfilling.
I like how you say about you like to see how students they become doctors and they go out and they
become
help
healers.
others and they help others heal.
Right. Heal.
So that's a very nice idea.
Right.
And that's actually the idea of medical profession originally, like coming from Ayurveda even.
Right.
So you come from India, you are a very cultured person. We just finished celebrating Yugadi, which is like a very nice ceremony. Yugadi is celebrated as a new year in some parts of South India. So we just finished the ceremony and we were having a conversation. We decided to have this little interview. And but I have another question for you is like, there is a increasing kind of lack of trust with medical profession due to various controversies and all that stuff. And so what would you say could be some reasons? Are people like feeling that the medical profession is becoming more like a way to make money and not is losing more the idea of healing people? Would you say?
I do to some
what
extent.
would you say?
Yeah, to some extent I would agree with you, but for the most part, right, healthcare system in this country is very like a conundrum. we really don't know, like, how the healthcare system works. It's not the physician who gets all the money, right? It's, the insurance companies and the CEO of the insurance companies, etc. But the physician that we train, we all, or the students that we train to become physicians, they've always been engraved in their mind that patient should come first. They have to put the patient first, and then whatever, whether it's money or anything else come, you know later, or it doesn't exist. Actually, always put patients first, and they are there for the patient. They should always be there for the patients. And then we also teach them, how to, like, avoid any conflict of interest, etc. Like, for example, whenever there is any symposium organized by pharmaceutical companies or biotech companies, there's always a lot of freebies that are given. We always tell our students not to get any freebies. You're going there for a reason, right? To pick up knowledge, right? Medicine is all evidence-based practice, so you got to go there, acquire the knowledge. You don't have to get any freebies. And everything is conflict of interest, right? Like, for example, getting some money from the pharmaceutical companies, for, if a physician prescribes a medication, is a conflict of interest. So, the students, when they become doctors, are fully aware of what is correct and what is not correct. And we are hoping that, they do the right things for the patient,
So
for
you
the
are,
benefit of the
you are
patient.
saying from your side you
Train them.
educate them in a way that they have good values.
Right, not only the medical knowledge, but medical ethics. The medical ethics and medical knowledge, right? So both of them are equally important. They have to put both medical ethics and medical knowledge into practice when they treat the patients.
So coming from a very cultural family, what is your view on, like, we can heal people to certain extent, but then there are the spiritual side. There is some karma they have to deal with,
Absolutely.
and some point the body has to die anyways.
Right.
So, like, what's your spiritual view about all this part?
I mean, that part is very important, because faith is critically important, right, on day-to-day basis. Even if a cancer patient is going through a therapy, it is a faith that they have to hold, right? Besides medicine, the doctors and the medicines are in the form of God, and all of that should heal them so that they're able to fight off the cancer, right? So every day, the belief, the faith in God is the one that would help patient partner with the doctor, and then form a strong team and work with the doctor to get themselves cured. And of course, there are some terminal illness for which there is no cure. During those conditions, it is actually the spirituality that would help patients to come to terms that they live their life and they're going to reach the lotus feet of Krishna or God.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing some good insights.
Can I have questions?
Oh yes, please.
I want to know how you became a monk.
Thank you. So this is interesting. You ask me this. I often get asked this question, but I think today is a good day to share this with a larger number of people. I will start like this. Growing up in India, we are exposed to these things at a very young age. So I grew up seeing, like, the Babajis, the renounced people. They come, ask for food at your door, and my grandfather would always give them some money, some food, and I would wonder how a person can live so simply. At the same time, I would be amazed, like, wow, like some people can live so simply. So I would think, like, it's like, how do these people live such a simple life? Is it even practical to do that? But watching Ramayana, Mahabharata, Krishna Lila on the TV, we see the sages are also very wise. They can see much, much far ahead in future than what we can see with our limited
Absolutely.
vision. Still, like, everyone wants a bright future. And then I I had like a desire to help other people, but the place where I come from in India, Haryana, is north part of India. So there, there are wrestlers and people play kabaddi. So physical strength, there are many people, they are farmers. So physical strength is valued very highly. And then I thought, I observed, like even these physically strong people, they work for people who have a lot of wealth. They go and work for them, get paid by them. And so I noticed maybe better than just being physically strong is having a lot of wealth, because then you can help. There are so many people who need help, and I wanted to help. So it ingrained in me that I have to make a lot of money to help others. Still growing up, I heard about like different people who have made a big change in society, like people who led some revolutions, and I was like, one person can do so much. How is that? So these things, ideas were like kind of growing in myself, but still I had not much clarity. And then I studied in a boarding school, so there we would watch these. They would show us one Hollywood movie a week, and many times it would be James Bond movies. So I would think this guy is very, very smart. He can fix problems, he can do things. So it's like you would want to be like that person.
A hero.
Yeah, but still, like time to time, when you hear about these great sages, they have mystic powers, they can do even more wonderful things. So again, there will be some confusion. So when I went to university, I actually finally got a copy of Bhagavad Gita. I tried to read a few parts. It was a little heavy for my mind to take, and still I kept it with me, and I knew maybe I have to come back to it later sometime. So when I was planning to go overseas, what happened is I was not very sure. I wanted to do something in India, living in India, and not go overseas. One big reason was I was afraid. I grew up being a vegetarian, and one of the greatest fears was like, even if I go there, like it's very hard to find vegetarian food. How I'm gonna survive? And anyways, so I had a friend. He told me that his grandmother, she could tell some things about future. So generally I wouldn't go to astrologers or people like that, because I had understanding that whatever is going to happen, it will happen.
What was destined to happen would happen.
Yes. So going to these astrologers is not going to change it. It might influence it a little bit, but it's not going to change it. So I would never consult them. But because he was my friend, I thought, okay, there is no harm. It's his great grandmother. We can go and we can talk to her, and let's see what she says. So what she told me really amazed me. And after that, I became a little bit more open to accepting these ideas. So when we approached her, she didn't even speak Indian language. She lived in the mountains somewhere. She spoke a local dialect which I couldn't understand, but my friend could understand. So he was our translator. So in short, she just asked me like, what's your name? What you want to do? And then she was chanting mantras on the beads, saying some prayers. And then she told me a few things. First thing she said is, for you, it doesn't matter. You live in India or you go overseas, both ways it's going to be beneficial. And then she told me something that amazed me. She said, there is one person who you will meet, he will help you a lot. And that made me wonder, like, how does she know there is one person in some faraway place? And I personally don't know anyone in that country. I went to New Zealand, and I don't know someone personally, and she's claiming that there is one person who's going to help you. So that one person happened to be my guru, who I found when I went there. And most interesting thing was, he really became such a big inspiration for me. I will tell you why. So he's born in New York. He studied in Yale University, which is a prestigious university in the USA. And I heard a little bit about his brothers, sisters. They have like good, they are placed in very high positions in the USA. And he was a scholarship student, so he could have any kind of corporate career he wanted. But instead of that, he decided to become a monk. And he became a student of a guru from India, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada. So it really amazed me. How is it like this person, he become a monk and he's following this Indian guru? Then it gave me some light, because I was thinking make a lot of money and help others. So it kind of broke that mindset. He said, here is a person, he could make any amount of money. Instead of doing that, he decided to become a monk and follow this ancient Indian culture, Vedic culture. And he's educating others about this. And not only others, I happened to become his student. So it was very ironical for me. And the first book by him I saw was titled Searching for Vedic India. I was like, man, this is a person from outside India, he's writing about Vedic India.
Nice.
And I'm not so aware about Vedic India. Or at least I'm not super interested yet. So that sparked my curiosity and interest. And I was still studying, and I worked in shipping industry there for a couple of years. While working, I kept studying the Bhagavad Gita, because that was the first advice he gave me, that you should study Bhagavad Gita. And I started reading, and I made friends with monks there. So I saw how these monks live. They would go and meet people and share the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, the Vedic culture. So it became like a fun activity for me. So I started going out with these monks, made friends with them, and I developed more interest in this lifestyle. Even while I was working, I started practicing myself, and that really got me into it. I started to understand Bhagavad Gita more, and I wanted to apply it. So gradually I asked my teacher that I want to give it a try for 2 years. I just want to try how it is like living like a monk.
Like a monk.
Because growing up in India, living in boarding school, I was trained enough to live simple life and, think of helping others. So living simple and thinking big was a little bit easier for me to take to. And meeting my guru, I became more inspired. So I decided to try it for 2 years. And I discussed with him that I'm just going to try for 2 years. If it works, I will do it longer. But for a start, I can say I will at least give it a try for first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it happened in 2013. I went to Australia. I joined the temple there, started living as a full-time monk. And now we are in 2025, so it's been 12 years.
Right.
I haven't found anything more interesting to do yet.
Absolutely. Well,
So,
thank you so much for
been,
sharing your spiritual journey.
Yes, it's been a very nice
inspiring.
experience. So that's what really inspired me. But also on the course of all these years, I met like many nice people like you, who are able to balance the material affairs and the spiritual affairs. People in general, they cannot do that. Some people can.
I should have said that actually. Whether it's a patient or a doctor, I guess the faith could vary, but people who follow Sanatan Dharma, for us, the two important beliefs is reincarnation and karma, right?
Yes.
So everything what we're going through is a karma, right? Your karma and my karma.
Yes.
Suffering could be a karma.
Yes.
Yes. Achievement could be a karma.
Yes.
So being dispassionate, that's what Krishna preaches. Bhagavad Gita says, right?
Yeah.
You got to do your duty dispassionately.
Yes.
And you shouldn't be putting all your heart into the outcomes. Right?
Yes.
So that, do everything, do your duty dispassionately, and don't expect any outcomes. But the mundane human beings, we are more biased towards the outcomes, right?
Yes.
The more we are towards like being dispassionate and not expecting the outcome, the better we are, towards, or the closer we are towards reaching the spiritual goals.
So we heard very nicely from Dr. Venketaraman that this famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, that do your duty with a duty consciousness, do everything you need to do, but don't be attached to the result. The result may come or may not, but doing your duty is your dharma. So you reminded me something my teacher says about this verse, because he speaks with many Indian people also, and he visits India every year. So he says like, for me it was interesting to hear, because I come from India also. He said, people in India, they always quote this first part of the verse, but they don't talk about the second part, because you know what the second part says. So in the second part, it says that you should offer the results to Krishna.
Right.
So most people,
They
they
say
talk
Sarvam
about
Krishnarpanam.
duty
Sarvam
they talk
Krishnarpanam.
about duty consciousness, but then they don't. Not many people. There are many people who offer the results, but still there are a good number of people who don't talk about offering the results.
That's
So
what
that's another thing. We also have to offer our results. So as a monk, it's very easy for us, like to whatever results we get, we offer it to back to the temple. So it becomes easy to follow the second part also. But living outside, sometimes it can be challenging to do that, because we also have to take care of other aspects. Thank you for a good reminder on that.
No, it's a Sarvam Krishnarpanam. That's what I say. Whatever I get is because it's Krishna's action. Right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been such a nice interview, and then thanks for shooting us.
So thank you guys. If you like this video, please smash that subscribe button. We will be having more interviews like this with more educated people, so we can get some insights from the education field also, and we understand how it's going over there. And I was also happy to share my story, because like I said, this is a very auspicious day, in the sense it's Yugadi. So this is like a new beginning. So it's a good day to share a story. Maybe it might be inspiring for many of you to think what kind of story you have. And if you guys want to share your story or do an interview with us, please put it there in the comments. You have an interesting story, we would like to interview you and share with people. So it's educational, at the same time interesting. So thank you again.
Happy Yugadi.
Happy Yugadi. Thank you, Dr. Venkataraman.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful weekend.
Hare Krishna.